We've got a clear advantage as India. One of course is our demographic dividend, which is one of our biggest advantages. So I think that is something that we need to play on, with the millennials that we have and the kind of population that we have who are anyway tech savvy. So that's one of the areas that we should be focusing on. The second, of course, is all the impetus that we are being given by Digital India, like you said, is really working in our favor, right? So while we are still seeing some of the benefits to be reaped, but I think we are definitely on track. So I think an amalgamation of both these, with of course the whole headroom that we have in India today, whether it's the internet penetration or the smartphone penetration, automatically when you combine all these three, it gives us a very clear differentiated or a competitive advantage compared to other nations. So I think that's what we need to play on more and move faster on some of these tracks. Customer satisfaction is all encompassing. I think it's the most important facet. It's the most important thing ever. And we bring it down to customer experience is what we are saying. So the way we frame it at Adobe is that we are today in the experience era, right? So, and in the experience era, especially in the digital world, it's absolutely critical for any consumer to be delivered with a personalized, relevant experience in real time. So I think it's all encompassing because today it's no longer about acquisitions in the digital world like it was some time ago. We moved to conversions, we moved to loyalty, we moved to retention, which can only happen if you provide the right customer experience to the consumers. It's phenomenally, we've just constituted a study which Forrester undertook, and some of the findings in that are proof of the pudding of what we always believed or what was our gut feel, because it very clearly shows that the market today is penetrated 30%, which is largely digital signatures. If you look at electronic signatures, it's probably much lower, somewhere closer to the 10% mark, which means there is a huge headroom there. And the study clearly shows that there is an intent all across almost all segments for solving the whole paper-based inefficiencies, as we call it, which can be eradicated once we get the electronic signatures in place. So I think there's a huge market, there is an intent, there is a will, and it's just a question of how quickly we get people to hop onto the bandwagon. So India is always a strategic market for Adobe, right? And the first point, of course, is that 1/3 of Adobe largely is based out of India. So we've got about 30% of our R&D in India, and we do make a lot of investments across our entire portfolio when it comes to India. Now, specifically from the e-signature market, there are 2 or 3 big announcements that we've made in the last couple of weeks. One, of course, is the whole Aadhaar integration backend, which is critical for e-signatures to work in India, because that's the whole authentication mechanism at the back end. So we are very, very bullish on, we have a global world-class solution which is tuned or fine-tuned for the Indian market. Along with that, what we've done is we've recently launched a data center just a couple of weeks ago for the Indian market. And this was essentially to solve for data sovereignty issues with customers like banking or government, where they are more conscious of the rules and the regulations, and along with that, of course, it provides the compute closer to the customer. So I think we are very bullish on the e-signature market. It's a huge headroom, and I think that's the base of digital that we need to solve for. Yeah. So Adobe is of course betting very high on the e-signature market, or the Adobe Sign market as we call it. Inherently, India is a very strategic and important market for Adobe. So 1/3 of Adobe is based out of India. Most of our research, more than 30% of our research happens out of India. And we are regularly doing a lot of investments for this market. Coming on specifically to the e-signature space that we are looking at, there are 2 big announcements that we are doing. One, of course, is the integration of Adobe Sign with the Aadhaar, the backend integration, which helps our customers or consumers across the country authenticate and their signatures when they are signing digitally. And the second big announcement that we are doing is for an India data center, which is essentially to solve for the data sovereignty issues and provide a closer compute to our customers, especially the banking and the government customers. So those are 2 big things, and the reason we are doing it is because we are very bullish on this market.